Hey everyone, what do you do with leftover baked potatoes and grilled chicken? Well, chicken pot pies, the cooking outdoors way.
The Cooking Everything Outdoors show is sponsored by Camp Chef at OutdoorCooking.com and IslandGrillstone.com.
So what's the cooking outdoors way? Well, it's very simple. We're going to take a baked potato and we're going to put our chicken pot pie filling in it. And we are going to twice bake this bad boy. It is absolutely killer, perfect for camping, perfect for backyard, perfect on a cold, miserable day. Oh, it's just perfect. Now this recipe will easily fill 4 to 6 of these big baked potatoes. I'm only going to do 2 just for the show here. I mean, it's going to be lunch this afternoon for me and the missus. But, you know, the larger the baked potato, I think the better. You're going to get more filling in there. Now, as far as the filling goes, the chicken pot pie filling, if you want to use Grandma's recipe, because it's a secret family recipe and it just kicks butt, go for it. I've got a little bit of a southwestern flair to mine. Going to be just a pinch of heat and some little goodies in there. I'm using some frozen vegetables because it's really convenient. It's got some corn, some bell peppers, green, red, some black beans in there, and some onion. I'm going to kick it up a little bit with some cayenne powder. And the typical stuff that we're going to do is we're just going to make a quick roux. I'm going to use a skillet on the grill. I'm using a charcoal grill right now with some leftover briquettes. This is a good representation of a fire pit if you're out camping. So you're just going to need a skillet that you're not afraid to get in the heat. Of course, I'm breaking out my trusty old man pans. I've been using these for years. They work great on the grill. Highly recommend cast iron too. So let's get our chicken pot pie filling going. Now, as always, the complete recipe will be down below and also on the website, so you can follow along with me on this. Now, the first thing we're going to do is get our skillet over a good hot bed of coals. If it's too hot, spread it out a little bit. Just work it until you feel it's about right. I use my skillets on the grill all the time, so don't be afraid to do that. Make sure it's got a heat-safe handle, or wear a nice big pair of gloves. I want to take and melt about 3 tablespoons of butter. When your butter's ready, add your onions. Be careful not to burn the butter. You may have to move your pan from side to side, lift it up off the coals, whatever you need to do, just make sure it doesn't burn. But I don't want that brown, burnt butter taste. Now once our onions are sauteed down a little bit, I got a little brown on mine, I like that. We're going to add some salt and pepper, 1/8 to 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Then we want to add some flour. Now I have about a 1/2 cup of flour here. We're going to make a nice roux with this. Just get that mixed in that fat real good. Now I want to add in some chicken broth. And I got about 1.5 cups, almost 2 cups here. I might not use it all. Just get this all blended together so we don't have any flour clumps. That's going to thicken up a little bit. We're going to add some milk to it next. Again, I have about 3/4 cup of milk. I'm not going to use it all. We're just giving it a lot of flavor, making it nice and rich. And it's just continuing to thicken up. It's just beautiful. Now, stir constantly. You don't want this to stick and burn. Once it's at the thickness you like, let's remove it from the heat. So once we have our filling, the consistency we want, we've cooked it a little bit, it's nice and thick. We want to add our chicken. And then we want to add our vegetables. Now, if you think it's a little too thick, you can always add a little bit more milk to it, or even a little bit more stock. We're just going to set this aside and prepare our potatoes. Like I said, these are previously baked. And what I want to do is very carefully cut the top off of this. Now, we're looking at about 3/4 of this as far as where we want to remove it from. So I went a little higher than halfway point, and I like to just go in with my knife and cut that out just about like that. Just lift that off, and then we're going to start scooping out the insides. Leave a good 3/8 of an inch around the walls. We don't want this collapsing or breaking, but get enough of a cavity so that you can put some filling in there. And we're going to save this topping, or this center, for our topping. Take your time, don't rush this. If you rush it, you're going to break your potato. Now when you have these carved out, and you know, it's a pretty good sized cavity in there. This is where we want to fill it with our chicken pot pie mixture. Just pack it in there until it's nice and full and you've got absolutely as much in there as possible. I bring mine right to the top and just a tad bit over. You can make it overflow as much as you want, but what we're going to do is we're going to put a top on this. So what I do is I take some of the filling and I make myself some rustic mashed potatoes. How you want to do this is entirely up to you. You can add cheese, you can add bacon, certainly butter, perhaps a little milk, some salt, some pepper, some cayenne, a little paprika, whatever you like. Okay, that's looking pretty darn good. So let's cap our potatoes. Now I like to do it with a fork because I think it leaves a real nice pattern on it. Basically, we'll just pile on the mashed potatoes. And I do it and so that it's completely covering the opening. It's not going to stop stuff from bubbling out, but I think it just looks nice. And then the fork also makes these great little crags, little mashed potato peaks on there that brown up just beautifully. So now everything's really cooked. You could probably eat it just like this right now, but I want to toast the top up a little bit. So I have my grill set up for 2-zone indirect heat. I'm going to put my potatoes over on the far cool side, away from the hot part, because that's pushing 450. It's still a little hot. I'm going to tone it down just a bit, but I'm going to put the potatoes on, cook them for about 15 minutes, maybe. And very carefully place these beauties on your grill. Cover them up. And we'll check on them every 5 minutes or so. Make sure they're not burning. Well, I think we're done. That's what I'm looking for. So let's slide this off. That is a meal in itself. Yeah, we got to try this. Let's just get some of this goodie here. Some of this goodness. This baked potato and this chicken pot pie filling. Wow. Mmm. I'm sorry, Grandma. This kicks it. That's good. So, there you have it. Chicken pot pie in a baked potato, or twice baked chicken pot pie potato. Whatever you want to call it. It's simply good. Give it a try, and I'll see you when I see you.